in this presentation we will learn about Dockerfile. So what is a Dockerfile? So Dockerfile is just a simple text file which contains a number of instructions to build a Docker image. So always there is some base image, and on top of that we apply some changes and commands through Dockerfile and we get a new image. So Dockerfile is used to create a new image from some other base images. That is, you can create your custom image by using Dockerfile. So what a Dockerfile looks like this. You can see in this is just a text file, and there is a number of statements you can see, and in each and every statement there are two sections. The first section is called instruction. So for example, from run, coffee, work direct, cmd, etc. These are the instructions we call Docker instruction, Dockerfile instruction. And the other portion, the right hand side, this is called the arguments. Okay, so a single command can have single or multiple arguments. So now let us see the structure of a Dockerfile. So this is a Dockerfile. Always the typical Dockerfile starts with this from command, and we call this as base image. Okay, so you need always a base image to create your custom image, and the last instruction you are seeing, that is called container start command. Means if a certain container is created by using this Docker image, then this is the command will be run to start the container. And there are some other commands in between. You can see these are the image modification instructions. Means these are the commands where you can install some packages, libraries, and you will add your source code, etc. All these things happens in between. There are some other commands also, like exporting certain port, adding volume, etc. Those are also there, so we'll learn them one by one. Okay, so the structure of a Dockerfile is, there are three sections you can see. This is the base image section, other is the container start command at the end, and in between there could be some other commands, environment setup, etc. you can add. So let us go to the CLI and create some custom images. Here you can see I have created a very simple Dockerfile. So the first instruction, what I am doing is that I am pulling the base Ubuntu latest images. On top of that, I am doing some modifications. That I'm running some command, that is apt-get update and apt-get install python 3. That is, I am installing Python. And then what I am doing, I have added a copy instruction, copying my local directory inside the container /app directory. Okay, and then I am just mentioning that my working directory is /app, that is whatever the further instructions which will be executed, those will be with the context of /app directory, right? You can think of like the cd/app in your terminal. What you do there, you get into a certain directory and then run the commands. So it is similar, something like that only. Exist in my current directory is that this Dockerfile, and there is a Python file you can see that is called app.py. So this is a very simple program I have written, that is I have imported date time and the time. There is a while loop, infinite loop, which is printing the whatever the current time it is, and everywhere it is sleeping 2 seconds, and that is every 2 seconds it will just print the current time stamp. This is the very simple Python program. Okay, cool. So to create a image from this, what we need to do is that the first instruction I will run is docker build. Okay, -t, you can give a name that f latest. Okay, whatever that you can, the first person you think this is the tag you are giving, the estimates, giving a tag to this image. Whatever the image you are creating, you need to give a tag to that. So the first person, it is the image name, and this is the version. So I am adding latest, or you can add something else also, say 1.0. Cool. So -t, and then you will put the current context, that is with context of which directory this image will be created. So my context is the current directory. Okay, and whatever the where exists the Dockerfile -f Dockerfile, you need to mention it. But if the file name is Dockerfile, just like the with capital D, then you do not need to mention anything. Okay, this is enough. If you just run this command, it will create a custom image. So let us see. So it is, you can see that it's started, so it is downloading the Ubuntu images in this instruction, then extracting it, then it's running images. Once image is downloaded, it's running these commands, apt update, and installing Python on top of that. Image building is completed, so you can see that currently the image which has been created with this name app with version 1.0. so I'll just do docker images here just to view. So docker images will show you that there is a image with tag 1.0 has been created. Now if you want to create a container from this image, so we know that how to create a container. Docker run dash it d in detach mode. I'll do that. Let's do not do it in detach mode because we want this print to be displayed in the terminal. Okay, let us directly see it. So I'll run docker run dash it, then I'll give a name app, cool, and then I'll put the image name. So image name is app, 1.0 version, cool. So let us run it. Yeah, you can see the container is running and it is printing the timestamp as per this instruction. Every 2 seconds it is printing 52, 54, 56 like this. Okay, so this is how we can create a custom image, and then from that image we can create our container.